Today, I will show you the process of assessing and performing migration of a regular client-server application to the web, cloud, or mobile using Visual Web GUI. We'll start by running the Visual Web GUI assessment tool in order to see our application readiness for migration. I'm selecting the application assemblies. Setting assembly types. I'm going to click Next. I'm going to fill this form to see the application's readiness to migrate to Azure Cloud. I'm setting some data of a common multi-user application. This will provide me with an assessment of Azure Cloud resources needed. I'm filling a small profile of the application's common usage. File transfers, UI transport, database usage, and so on. And start the assessment process. Once it's finished, you can see the report summary, but let us see the full report. Just going to fill this form. And click Show Report. This is our assessment report. Here you see my details as I gave them. And here you can see an assessment of the Azure Cloud resources that we would need to use for our application. All this data can be entered for product cost with Microsoft rates. These graphs show you the automation level in the migration ahead, as well as the manual work needed, segmented by the complexity of the gaps. Overall, our application readiness is as high as you can hope for. Here you see an assessment of the time saved by migrating to Visual Web GUI. And just below, you can see a drill down to the actual gaps and proposed solutions. Let us look at a few. Here you can see a gap of missing platform-related implementation of a third-party control. Here you can see a gap of missing platform-related implementation, as expected with resource handling like images. And here you can see a gap of handling static types, which is very different comparing desktop and web. So let's see an example. This is a regular client-server application with common views and controls, bound to data on the server, very common around the world. Let us review the transposition process. I am running the Visual Web GUI transposition tool. I'm going to choose my project. And select the assembly types. Set my output folder and destination framework and start the process. Once it's finished, let's run it. You can see a fully functional web application which supports the same behavior and more. For instance, you can see the paging in the top list view. Let us switch back to the original application now. As you can see, we have a third-party Infragistics tab control which we cannot migrate automatically. And a custom watermark text box control we've created. These two need some attention. So let's see what we can do. Now I'm going to go over the manual segment of the transposition process. Our challenges: mapping third-party controls to Visual Web GUI types, adjusting desktop custom controls to web environment. In our new created solution, we simply have to map the third-party types to the Visual Web GUI types instead. For our custom control, we'll add a skin to hold all the client resources. And we will replace the previous client behavior with an implementation that is more suitable for web. And now we can deploy. This is the converted application, and you can see the newly mapped tab control functioning well. And of course, the custom-made watermark text box control functioning perfectly as expected. That's it. Thank you all very much. For more information and download of the Visual Web GUI Assessment Tool, please visit
www.visualwebgui.com/cloudmove.aspx.